It is the human brain. In other words, that light, that angle of light which came down from above, found its way into your mother's womb, found its way into the pineal gland of the fetus body. And at that point then, there you had the ability of the light to use the brain, to use the consciousness, and to develop itself to where finally you reach a point where you're able to separate from the traditional family. You're able to separate from traditional government. You're able to separate from traditional religion, and you're able to find yourself. The brain produces new states of consciousness. The brain will produce Christ consciousness. The brain will change the very course of civilization throughout the world, and it will change because of the change in magnetism, the change in the way the angles of light are affecting the brain. Now, we get into that situation where, people get into it, you say, well, it's astrology, he's talking about astrology, and you get all scared. And the reason you get scared is because your cult says, oh, you shouldn't listen to that. You should reach a point where you can listen to anything you doggone well want to listen to. Until you do, you'll never find out who you are and what your purpose is. Because nobody has faith in God. You say, oh, I have faith in God. No, you don't. You have faith in what your particular group told you about God. You're trusting the group that they're right. If you happen to be born someplace else, you'd be with another group, different group. So you say, well, I believe in my particular group that they're telling the truth. That's what your faith has to do with. But what has happened now is you've seen a whole change in the way the patterns of the universe, the different celestial bodies have changed position. When the celestial bodies change position, the angles of light change. The angle may be coming this way, now it's coming that way. It impacts the human brain differently. It opens gates in the brains that were closes. It closes gates in the brains that were open, and you start thinking differently. And the whole civilization starts thinking differently. Suddenly they say, oh, what happened to the traditional family? Oh, what happened to our morals? Oh, what happened to all this stuff? Oh, we got to get back to our traditional family. You know what that means? When they say we have to get back to our traditional family, it means we have to put women back into the kitchen to stir soup and darn socks while their husbands go out and have an exciting career. That will never happen. We have to get back to when women submitted on their knees to men. That will never happen. That was an evil that the universe has corrected. It's in the process of correcting. It's corrected it for a lot of the universe. So that's a tradition. The other tradition of our great moral culture of the past that we have to, get back to is the blacks will sit in the back of the bus. Or blacks will have to sit in the balcony in the theater. They can't sit in the orchestra. That was an evil that has been corrected by the universe. And there's a lot of evils that are still to be corrected by the universe, obviously. But scientific understanding of the universe is so important because it works on electromagnetic impulses that affect the brain. I cannot for the life of me understand how people can go to church week after week after week and yet never even give a thought to the fact that they are living on this planet in the middle of all this tremendous violent power called magnetism, which comes down from these planets, and think that they're not affected by it. It is photon, or an angle of light, or angel of light, if you want to call it, that animates every part of you. It is the inner light that is the true you. It is the you who are really part of this great electromagnetic web, which is the universe. And you have an electromagnetic web that covers your brain. It separates what is called dura mater, which is the hard outer covering, from pia mater, which is the most sensitive inner part of your brain. And that web is called arachnoid, which means spider's web. So you have an electronic worldwide web in here. There's an electronic worldwide web up there. This is how you are described in the Bible, as a child of light. You're not a child of your parents. That body is from your parents. The light that animates that body came into the fetus at the 3rd month as an angle of light. That's your true identity. That's why meditation is the only possible way that you can make contact with the universe. Because when you meditate, to make contact, and I would challenge you to do this. I would challenge you to do it. It doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to join anything. Nobody knows you're doing it, and it takes 5 seconds. Not 5 minutes, 5 seconds. You close your eyes. Why do you close your eyes? Because it separates you from the outside. No problem. You tell yourself that you're watching yourself. Why should you tell yourself that you're watching yourself? The suggestion that you're watching yourself to your mind will cause a collapse of the wave, which is the light field inside of you, to a particle. When that light wave collapses to a particle, it then can line up with the pineal gland. It will then collapse the magnetism coming down to you, and you will start to harmonize with what you call God. Now, if this is difficult for you to accept, you go to Barnes & Noble or any bookstore, and you get a book on quantum physics, and go to the section that says observing, the observer, the watcher. When you watch, light collapses to a particle. For instance, the signal coming out of the gun of your television. There is no picture on that screen unless somebody is observing it. You try to see if you can see a picture on your television screen without watching it. It's not there. Unless somebody is watching it, there's no picture. But as soon as you watch, the light wave changes to a particle. And you can see it. The same thing happens inside of you. You close your eyes, you tell yourself you're watching yourself, you hold your breath for 5 seconds. When you hold your breath for 5 seconds, you're shutting down the thoughts of the lower mind. 5 seconds, 3 seconds. It comes in the twinkling of an eye. So I'm telling you that it is very important for you to watch yourself. Forget anything else. You can go to church. You can do whatever you want. Nobody's going to know you're doing this. But do it. And something amazing will happen in your life. You'll start to flow in a harmony with the universe and the celestial God, which is lined up, looking for you, waiting for you to call home. Close your eyes, tell yourself, I'm watching myself, hold your breath for 5 seconds, and then see the difference. Do it for other people. See the difference in their lives. 5 seconds. And no religion's going to tell you this, because once you find out the power of God that's inside of you, what do you need them for? 5 seconds. Collapse the wave to a particle. Watch yourself. And then when you do pick up the Bible, you'll understand that great statement that was made by Jesus when he said, "What I say to you, I say to all. Watch." Watch. Watch yourself. Collapse that light wave which is within you to a harmony of light with the universe. And then you see your life become what you had always dreamed. Hope you'll come back next week, and I'll see you then on Hidden Meanings. Bye-bye.